Anchors up, sails at full. Welcome to the Sloopcast. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Doing all right, Jared. How are you?
Sober.
Haha.
If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Is the noise gate like the Stargate? It's nothing like the Stargate. It's no. It is a technical marvel though.
Hey, Jared. Here is another episode of Know Your. Oh, wait.
Yeah, no.
It's a bye week.
This is no N-O, your enemy. Because there's no enemy
you're
to
enemy.
know.
You're funny, Jared.
There's no enemy to know this week. It is a bye week.
Let me stick to the jokes, not you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So, with no enemy to know this week, we're going to revisit, because we haven't got a chance to do one of these with the football season underway. We're going to revisit our mock class. We haven't done one of these, I believe, since July?
Camp. Since camp?
Yeah, I don't think we've done a mock since July. So here we are again. Things have changed a bit in the recruiting world for Ohio State. The class is mostly in place. If we zip through this quick enough, Kyle, and we'll see how chatty we in the chat are. If we zip through this fast enough, we might take a peek into the 2025 class as well. I'm prepared to do that.
Time, shall we?
I'm prepared to do that. Yeah, let's not waste any more time. Ohio State's 2024 class already in the class. Quarterback Aaron Noland, winner. Running backs James Peoples, Jordan Lyle, and Sam William Dixon. It's a three running back class.
All three are winners, Jared.
All three are winners. Sam William Dixon, maybe not a true running back. Maybe an athlete of sort. It depends. I'm not a how we're going to use Sam William Dixon. I think is not totally determined yet at this point. We'll see. We'll see how the Sam William Dixon story plays out over time. But the important part is that he is a dynamic athlete and he's in this recruiting class. Those are the two important things to know there.
He's the next X, maybe.
The next Evan Pryor, although we still need to see Evan Pryor be the current Evan Pryor. My conspiracy theory that they were saving him for the Notre Dame game did not play out.
No, that didn't. Wide receivers, we have Jeremiah J.J. Smith, Mylan Graham,
one of the best in the country at any position.
Jeremiah McClellan.
Yeah. Jeremiah McClellan looked like he wasn't going to come for a minute, but then he committed and now he's a part of the class. Smith and Graham have been locking down the class for a long time. No, for the millionth time, I am not worried about JJ Smith flipping or decommitting or anything along those lines.
Yep.
Two Jeremiahs, both receivers. That feels statistically unlikely. Wait till you find out what two of the offensive linemen are named. So I do think Ohio State potentially adds a fourth wide receiver to their existing three in this class. I don't think it can be just anybody. I do think it has to be the right person. And that person right now, and I am going to add a fourth member to this class. He's currently committed to Miami. As a theme you might pick up in this episode is I don't consider commitments to Miami to be all that committed. We'll get to maybe a couple more later. But this is Chance Robinson. He has a couple visits in line for Ohio State, a couple possible visits in line for Ohio State. The official visit as of right now is the Penn State game, is October 21st. So he'll be back on campus. I believe he was just on campus for I think it was Western Kentucky. But he'll be back on campus or is official for the Penn State game. That Penn State game, not a big surprise to anyone, should be a big recruiting weekend for Ohio State. So we'll keep an eye out on Chance Robinson. Tight ends, Kyle. I think the tight ends are marked down in Penn. I think we're finalized on the tight ends.
I agree. Yeah, we got Demarion Witten and Max LeBlanc. Yeah, I think that's pretty solidified right there. Offensive lineman, Jared.
Offensive line. I like this class.
I do too.
The recruiting stars aren't huge, but they solidified 4 of these guys quickly. It is a very, not totally in-state, but very regional class. You have the twins, Devontae and Deontay Armstrong. Deontay is marked as an offensive tackle. Devontae plays guard in high school. They play next to each other. They say, because you have to figure that their body types are somewhat similar, seeing as how they're twins. And yes, they're identical. That you'd think Devontae could also maybe play offensive tackle. So Deontay, we're calling a tackle. Devontae, we're calling a tackle or guard. Then at the guard position, you have Mark Nave and Ian Moore. And I've been saying this, Kyle, for months now. Ohio State needs another out of state, high profile offensive lineman in this class, preferably a tackle.
Yeah, that's one thing that Ohio State's missing from this class is like a high profile offensive lineman here, and
offensive tackle specifically. I mean, I like what they have. The interior they got on lock. I love this class from an interior standpoint. I really, really wanted Gerby Lambert or Brandon Baker, but they went to Notre Dame and Texas respectively. There are some other offensive tackles maybe that they could have gotten this class, but didn't quite work out.
Baker was a big miss. I was hopeful, but obviously as it got closer, it didn't seem likely, but that would have been the big one for Ohio State.
I'd have been just as happy with Gerby Lambert. But yeah, just add Baker to yet another Mater Day heartbreak. Yep. We always think we're gonna, and then we never do.
Nope.
Went after some Texas tea. Yep. I had always heard that coming as far east as Ohio was going to be a difficult sell for him, going all the way from California to Ohio. I had always heard that even Texas was a bit of a stretch for him, but Texas is still considerably closer to California than Ohio is, but it is what it is. Still out there. And maybe what maybe feels like Ohio State's last chance to add a high profile offensive lineman to this class is Jordan Seaton. Jordan Seaton playing at the IMG Academy in Florida. Now the thing is about Seaton, I've been wanting a true offensive tackle added to this class. Seaton is currently marked as an interior offensive lineman. Now, I've seen it said that a lot of people believe he could or should or will play tackle at the next level. I believe he plays tackle now. So he's either a really good offensive tackle or the best guard in the country. He's currently marked as the #1 interior offensive lineman in the country. But there's a lot of people who think he can still play tackle at the next level.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Seaton would be an amazing addition to this class, an absolutely amazing addition to this class. I want him in this class. I do still fear about Ohio State's positioning at the offensive tackle position. So we'll see how that plays out. That's about. We'll see how that plays out. It's a bit of a disappointment not getting either Baker or Lambert for sure. Need to hit the portal early to help on the O-line, something Hairball has done exceedingly well. You're not wrong. In fact, you're right. You're very, very right. Yeah, they're going to need... Ohio State needs to land a high-profile offensive tackle out of the portal this next cycle. That I 100% agree on, and also maybe the cycle after that. We'll see.
Yep.
Moving on to the defense. Ohio State recently adds Eric Mensah to the defensive tackle crew along with Justin Scott. They flipped Eric Mensah from Virginia Tech. I've heard Mensah described as a high ceiling guy, maybe not going to be immediately ready, but has a high ceiling. So when you have a huge piece in place like Justin Scott, you can maybe go and, I think I don't want to call Mensah a quote unquote project player. I think that undersells who he is and what he's capable of. But I do think that allows you to go after someone who, again, maybe isn't fully baked yet, but like I said, has a super high ceiling. And I think that's what they get with Eric Mensah. Defensive end position, added Edric Houston not terribly long ago. He looks like a run stopper, probably builds into a DT. Yeah, no, he's absolutely a DT. I've seen. No,
he absolutely is.
I've seen
6'4", 310.
Mensah?
Oh no, Mensah 6'3", 290.
Yeah. That's what we're talking. I assume that's what he was talking about. That's sort of what I mean when I say like he's not done baking yet. Like I've seen it discussed. Is he a defensive end? Is he like a strong side defensive end, or is he a 3-tech defensive tackle? Ohio State sees him as a 3-tech defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. Zach, doing recruiting talk. Wish the class was a little deeper before we had to move to project adjacent dudes. The defensive tackle position is in good shape. I don't think I don't want you to come away thinking Mensah is like a straight up project guy. That's not, I don't want you to walk away thinking that. It's just that you have Justin Scott in place who they do feel like can be ready right away. And therefore they don't feel the pressure to get someone else who can be ready right away. Does that make sense? And by the way, I wanted to say Jordan Seaton official visit 11/11. He'll be on campus 11/11. So you get the dude on campus. That's a huge part of the battle. Hopefully they can secure Jordan Seaton on 11/11. Eric Mensah was on campus. He was on campus. I forget for which one of the games. Defensive end. Talked about Edric Houston. We've talked about Ernest Wilner, Ernest Wilner Jr., who's a guy who has jumped in and out of my mock classes through the summer. He's sort of one of the defensive ends who has like been around and near the mock for a long, long time. I think he sort of fell off in regards to Ohio State, but think there's maybe a bit of a renewed spirit there. So right now I have him as the second and probably final member of the defensive end class. But for the sake of this mock, the final of the defensive end class, I do think that there's some just outside the mock defensive ends who I wouldn't completely rule out yet.
Mm-hmm. All right, linebackers here.
Yeah, go.
I'd say linebackers here. We currently have Peyton Pierce and Garrett Stover, which if you're new listening to, yes, it is that Stover. So
that is his cousin.
Mm-hmm. But I think on the notes here, Jared, there's maybe room for one more linebacker in this class here.
Yeah, Nicholas Rodriguez. Nicholas Rodriguez is currently committed to Missouri. I'm pretty sure it's a visit scheduled here soon, although I didn't write down what that date is. I think that if Ohio State were to offer, or I think that's a high potential flip for one Nicholas Rodriguez.
All right,
they're mostly flips from here on out, just so everyone knows. This class got picked up quickly.
Mm-hmm. And then the corners here, Jared, we got some big names here. We got Bryce West, we got Aaron Scott, as well as Miles Lockhart from Arizona as well in this class.
Yeah, and for anyone who might not follow recruiting all that closely, West and Scott are both from the state of Ohio. Yeah, it's a great corner class, Woody. And here's the thing. Yep. I don't think they're done yet. They were trying to get Kobe Black, but getting Kobe Black out of Texas was always going to be difficult. And I don't think they're going to win that. I think the last time we did a mock, I still had Kobe Black in the class. And even then I acknowledged that it was a bit of a long shot. And I've officially given up on Kobe Black as an Ohio State Buckeye, unfortunately. I am, however, going to talk about Terrion Nichols, who's currently committed to Kentucky. But like I said, a lot of these guys are currently committed elsewhere because this class, for whatever reason, just got picked up very quickly. Yeah, so I think it's, if all of the guys, I'll say this, of all of the guys who I've mentioned, I think Nichols might be one of the bigger flyer picks in here. One of the guys who I'm among the guys who I'm least sure about. But he's a Cincinnati kid. He's an Ohio kid. Went south to Kentucky. You know, he, like the next guy we're going to talk about, sometimes you come back to these Ohio kids later when you miss on some national prospects, and sometimes they're excited to be a Buckeye, and sometimes they get a chip on their shoulder and be like, I don't want to be your backup plan to Kobe Black. And I respect either choice, quite frankly. I understand that sort of defiant nature of like, no, I don't want to be your silver medal. But I also understand and respect sort of putting that pride away and doing what's best for you, even if maybe you got your feelings hurt the first time around. I understand and respect both positions there. And I think that's the position that maybe Nichols might find himself in with Ohio State. And maybe the situation Reggie Powers finds himself with, as he has, Kyle, right before we started recording this, decommitted from Michigan State.
Yeah, definitely a name to keep an eye out for. That was curious to see if there's going to be any more from that program, to see if there's going to be any more decommits though. But
yeah, I have to imagine so.
Yeah, so definitely keep an eye out for Reggie Powers to see what he plans on doing here. But I think Ohio State, if they want him, could go and grab him here. Well, let me rephrase that. If they tell Reggie we want you, I feel pretty good chance that Ohio State would get him.
Yeah, it's Kyle, letting you know, because I was working on this mock on and off during the course of this day. I had Reggie Powers in this mock before he decommitted. So go ahead and put A and B together on that if you want to.
All right.
And so safety goes along with Jalen McClain, who's been in this class for a while now. I don't have any fears of any of these guys decommitting at this time. I do think that the guys who are in the class are pretty solidly in the class. You get close to December and crazy shit starts happening, so I don't want to make any promises. But yeah, just to do a quick recap, I am adding to the current class Reggie Powers, Terrian Nichols, Nicholas Rodriguez, Ernest Wilner Jr., Jordan Seaton, and Chance Robinson. Now, I just want to toss a couple additional names out there. I have 5 guys who I am calling just outside the mock. Just outside the mock, some names to watch, some names to keep in mind. Dominic DK Kirk, defensive tackle from the Cleveland area. I think he's from the Cleveland area, who's currently committed to Washington. I think that potentially the commitment of Eric Mensah might have maybe closed the door on Dominic Kirk coming to Columbus, but I also don't want to say that definitively because it might not be the case, but I would say it hurts the chances. Defensive end, and if you've been following Ohio State recruiting or our mocks during the summer, this name will sound familiar. Marquise Lightfoot is a guy who we had in the mock class on several occasions. But he's currently committed to Miami, and I do not respect Miami commitments at this time. I think I'm not afraid of anyone being committed to Miami. I think that's a recruiting class that could very easily fall apart at some point.
Yeah, definitely keep a close eye on that one because, yeah, things can change quickly.
Adding to that, Zaquan Patterson, the safety, who's currently committed to Miami, a guy who whose name we mentioned on several occasions. Defensive end / linebacker King Joseph Edwards, another guy who, again, we've mentioned a bunch of times. I don't know. I was very in between putting him or Nicholas Rodriguez in this class. That's kind of where I was at. Sort of last second made the swap to put Rodriguez in. So I did choose Rodriguez over, and when I say I chose him over, I'm saying in regards to likelihood. I'm not saying I like one of them more or less than the other one. I'm going strictly on likelihood of them in the class, just so we're clear on that. And then the 5th name I want you to keep an eye on, potentially joining this class. Edge player, defensive end linebacker, sort of hybrid guy, Brooker Pitchett, whose official visit is supposed to be Penn State. We'll see if that actually comes through. There's been a ton of crystal ball action semi-recently, sending him to Miami. But we all know how I feel about Miami commitments.
Yep. Yeah, so, when was that? Was that just, yeah, it was just a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
The crystal balls?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. Yeah. So if I have four, if we count Brooker Pitchett as committed to Miami, which he isn't, he just has a lot of crystal balls, right? So just so we're clear. But let's play pretend and say he's committed to Miami for a moment. I have 5, or is it no? It's 4. I have 4 current Miami commitments around this recruiting class.
Yeah.
Just something to keep an eye on. I also had a Michigan State Spartan, but he's decommitted now. So everyone keep an eye on Reggie Powers. That's all I'm going to say. All right. I have a next outside group and then a whole other group of guys, but at that point I'd just be reading names to you. So let's not do that.
Yeah. So currently, Ohio State has 23 commits. The best average, which seems to be a pretty common thing with Ohio State in recruiting, is always right near the top when it comes to recruits per, like on average, and they're number 2 overall right now.
Yeah, and according
to the composite.
They also have a long snapper committed in this class. I don't think he's scholarship though, so I don't, not going to name there. They also had some kickers visit recently, but I'm just I don't normally delve too deep into the special teams, punter, kicker, long snapper portion of the recruiting. So, and I'm just getting ahead of someone being like, you forgot that they have a long snapper from Texas committed to this class, and I didn't forget. All right, Kyle, we're sitting but somewhere between 25 and 30 minutes. Do you want to try and do any of this 2025 class?
Oh boy, I feel that if we dive into that 2025 class here, Jared, we're gonna hit like 50 minutes here. But I guess we can dig into it just a little bit here.
I want to get into it because I did put the work together to put together a full mock. And I kind of don't want that to go to waste.
All right, well,
but at the same time, I do feel like if we get into it and try and do it expediently, that I'm just going to start reading a bunch of names, which I don't know if that makes for good podcasting.
Okay.
So well, I'm very torn.
Do you feel there should be just some names that listeners should know then? Maybe not go through the entire mock here, which, by the way, if you want to see the early mock here, hit up Discord.thesloopcast.com, be a patron, and we share this information to our patrons so you can see our mock classes.
Yeah, I was about to say the Discord's free, but the recruiting channel is one of the premium premium channels.
But obviously there's only one commit right now for the 2025 class, and that is Kivian St. Clair from Bellefontaine or Bellefontaine, depending on which part of the country you're living in. But from Bellefontaine, Ohio, part of the state too. Yes. 35th, currently 35th nationally, third quarterback, according to 24/7 Sports. Now the composite has him quite a bit lower, but 24. We're going to go with 24 Sports here just because it fits our narrative better here. But the third best quarterback in the country.
I'd just be interested to know who has him lower, because I bet it's ESPN.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
All right. Running backs, I have 2 in this class, Jordan Davis and a young man with the unfortunate name. Or fortunate name, depending upon how you feel about it, Bo Jackson. Listen, do you want to be a running back named Bo Jackson who isn't Bo Jackson?
So Bo Jackson's from Cleveland, Ohio. What is it? The Villa Angela St. Joseph School. Yeah. That's tough. That's a tough name to.
That's a tough draw. Also a good in-state running back, Marquise Davis. Although, like, I already have 2 in the class, but I think Marquise Davis is fantastic. Wide receivers. I'm just going to name these guys off real quick because I don't have a great feel for the wide receivers in 2025 yet. Ohio State's so backloaded on wide receivers. This might be the first like subpar wide receiver class for Heartline. When I say subpar, I mean they won't all 4 be top 100 players. That's what I mean by that. Quentin Simmons Jr., Javan Boggs, Quincy Porter, and Andrew Marsh. Just going to name those guys off real quick. Because again, I don't have a great feel for the wide receivers right now anyway.
Yeah, Quentin Simmons is from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah, he sure is. In-state guy. Tight ends. Tight end Landon Pace. If you're wondering, yes.
Okay. I was going to say, Jared, do you know? Do the listeners know?
If you're wondering, yes.
Yes.
we are all getting old and close to death. That is, in fact, Orlando's son. And Nate Roberts, interesting, recently decommitted from Notre Dame, visited during the Western Kentucky game. There's a real shot there. There's a real shot there. But don't forget about Luca Gilbert, who I did move out of the class, but keep an eye on Luca Gilbert regardless. Offensive line. At tackle, I have Carter Lowe, in-state prospect, Matty Augustine.
Toledo.
Yes. And Ty Haywood. In the interior, I have Caden Strayhorn and Chauncey Gooden, who sounds like a basketball player. That's a very basketball player name, Chauncey Gooden. Defensive end, I have Justin Hill, another in-state prospect, and Zahir.
Cincinnati.
Yes, sir. And Zahir Mathis. Kyle? Got some recent buzz on Brandon Caesar, a defensive tackle. So keep an eye on Brandon Caesar. And then defensive tackle Maxwell Roy. I also have as I'm going to try that sentence again. I have those 2 as the 2 defensive tackles in this class. Some additional defensive linemen to keep an eye out for would be Isaiah White and Jameel Ham. An additional offensive tackle to keep an eye out would be Douglas. I'm going to go Otu. I'm not sure. It's UTO. He is from Hawaii. Linebackers. I have Anthony Sacca. He's from the Philly area. Am I correct on that, or am I misremembering?
That might be right.
St. Joseph's. Yes, St. Joseph's. And Maddox Arnold, another in-state prospect. He is from the Cincinnati area as well. Cornerback class, y'all. If you like the current quarterback class, I don't want to overhype it too much, because the current cornerback class is great too. But I feel really good about this cornerback class as well. Mark Zachary, he's from the Indianapolis area. There's already a really good relationship there, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Indiana's in-state. Ohio State will get the best players out of Indiana. I promise you, unless they're Catholic. If they're Catholic, then maybe not. Trey McNutt.
Sounds like a Buckeye already.
Yeah, he's from Shaker Heights. Probably a cornerback. I think he's still listed as an athlete. And if you go to his 24/7 page, he's wearing an Ohio State t-shirt in his profile pic. So, you gotta respect the hustle on that.
Oh yeah.
Dwayne Galloway. And if you're wondering, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a relation there. But this is a guy, if you go look his recruiting numbers, does not, none of his rankings are going to jump out as you as all that impressive, but man, he's starting to pick up some impressive offers already. So the offers are always ahead of the rankings. The offers are always ahead of the rankings. Keep an eye on Dwayne Galloway. And finally, Kyle, Dorian Brew. Now, Dorian Brew, an interesting guy for sure. McNutt is a must get. I mean, on many levels. He's from Shaker Heights. He's already a like near 5-star player, and his name's McNutt. It's the Ohio State t-shirt. Yes, he is also legacy. That is correct. Dorian Brew, interesting guy. He is out of Conroe, Texas. One of the best players in the country, marked as a 5-star. Here's the thing about Dorian Brew. One, already has some schedules. I think he's already been to Columbus. I think he has another visit scheduled. And worth noting, I have him as a corner. I think Ohio State wants him as a corner. Might be a wide receiver. We're not 100% sure there. I'm calling him a corner for now. But keep an eye on him. Didn't his mom graduate from OSU? Brew? I believe so. I believe, unless I'm mixing him up with someone else, I do believe so, yes. At the safety position, she was a track star, I think. That does sound familiar. Yes. I believe you are correct. There is a reason why they already have such a great relationship this early with the kid from Texas, and is already made, like I say, he's already made one visit. He already has another visit scheduled. When you get that sort of early, like this early, that sort of relationship and that sort of travel with a kid that far out of state, there's normally a reason why. Safeties. I have safety Ethan Long. He is a multi-sport athlete out of Connecticut. And Cody Haddad. That's how I'm going to attempt to pronounce that. Haddad.
Yeah. The kid out of St. Ignatius.
That is correct, sir. Some additional names to keep an eye on: edge rusher Chris Burgess, defensive back Mason Alexander, cornerback Devin Williams, and linebacker Weston Port. That wasn't bad, Kyle. I think that was like 10 minutes.
Yeah, good job. That was good.
And I didn't just read the names. I felt like I did a good selective discussion of each player. I think I did a good job there. I think we did a good job there. So Kyle, that's 2 mocks for the price of 1. Y'all showed up for 1 mock. We gave you 2. You're welcome. 1 mock.
What other podcast does that for you?
Kyle, has there ever been a podcast in the history of Ohio State media where they gave you a double mock class?
This is the first for me.
Who else does that? People with something to lose and respectability. That's who. It's really way too early to be doing a 2025 mock class at this point, but screw it. We have fun here. We don't take things too seriously. I feel much better about this 2025 mock than I did the first time we did it. This is the second time we've done a 2025 mock. I'm sure it's still almost entirely wrong, but I feel better about it. And that's what's important to me. As Kyle pointed out before, come join the Discord server, discord.thesloopcast.com. Come join our Patreon. We've picked up some new patrons recently. We're on a good streak with that. All of our new patrons, you are greatly appreciated. That being said, we still need some assistance. Kyle and I want to invest into the show some more. We need a budget to do that. If it's a thing you've been thinking about doing, I would greatly appreciate it. You can get I believe it is a 12% discount if you pay for an entire year up front. And for what it's worth, if you're a current Sloopcat and you're listening to this, you could always up your donation a little bit. You guys, do you know you earn more Sloop coins if you are at a higher donation tier? By the way, the Discord has an economy that we use almost entirely for gambling, but the Discord server does have its own economy, and you don't need to be a patron to participate in said economy. And when I say economy, I mean gambling. But please know that the coins have no actual monetary value, and therefore it is not actually gambling. They are just fun points. And there's tipping allowed.
New feature, Jared. Maybe tipping. Is tipping allowed?
We do have a PayPal. We have a sloopcast@gmail.com. So yes. Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Anything else, Jared? Anything else you got in your?
I was just about to ask you if you have anything in Kyle's corner.
You want to talk about Lou Holtz? Seems like everybody's talking about him.
Oh, Lou Holtz.
Or do you want to talk about Brady Quinn's comments?
I don't know about Brady Quinn's comments.
Well, I mean, he just, I mean, pretty much all he said that that Coach Day's comments was bizarre. But wasn't Brady Quinn here just earlier saying shit about CJ Stroud and trying to lower his stock draft? Wasn't that recently? Yes. So Brady Quinn, you can go right to hell.
Yeah.
Just
yeah, he was floating totally unfounded information about CJ Stroud. Quinn can stick it. I agree. And by the way, he's also, I don't care if he's from Dublin. He's a Notre Dame guy. I don't forget. Listen. And Lou Holtz is like, I'm not going to apologize. I believe what I said. Okay, so you're dumb. Cool. That's all I heard. This whole Ryan Day's not good in big games narrative is factually wrong. We talked about this during Scarlet and Grade on Monday. He has what's the number? 74% winning percentage against top 25 teams, something like that, which is the most in the country.
Yeah. And heck, I mean, Lou Holtz hasn't even been around since the last time Notre Dame's beaten Ohio State.
God. Lou Holtz isn't old enough to see the last. God damn, Kyle. That's how we end the show right there. Ooh,
I mean, he did win a national title. He did win a national title.
Kyle,
but
you got to know when to end. You already stuck the dagger in the heart, man. It's time to walk away from the show.
All right, let's end the show then.
That's just how you end the show. Tonight's ending music will be brought to you by Courtney from work. They're a Columbus-based band, a whole lot of fun. So with all that being said, I'd like to encourage everyone to drink local beer, listen to local music, and of course, support your local podcasters. Once again, this is Courtney from work.